Hey, what's up you guys? This is Gabby. Welcome back to my channel. I hope you guys are all well. As we all know, school is starting for a lot of us out there. A lot of people started school over the past few weeks or are going to start school within the next few weeks. So I thought it would be really fun for me to make a video giving you guys some tips on how to jumpstart your new school year and what you can do within the first month to make sure that you are on the right track. Now, this video can be for undergraduate students, graduate students. I think a lot of the information I'm going to give is going to totally overlap. I thought I would be a good person to make a video like this because I've had a total of 6 first days of college, 4 years in undergrad, and then 2 years in grad school. So I kind of have a feel for what you need to do during those first few weeks, during the first month, to make sure that you're off to a very successful year. I'm gonna give a total of 6 tips in this video. So 6 things you can do during the first month of college to really prepare yourself for a very successful time. And I know things are a little bit different this year with the pandemic. A lot of people are starting their school years from home, behind a computer, doing Zoom calls. But I really think these tips can apply for those individuals as well as those who are going back on campus. Let's jump right into the video with tip number 1. Okay, so this first tip is going to be pretty straight to the point, but I remember when I was going to graduate school and college, I would always take notes from the syllabi in my planner and lay out all of the assignments that I had due, all of the group projects that I had, all of the papers that were due, so I can have a nice overarching perspective of what my semester was going to look like, so I can start planning ahead and preparing how I want to start tackling those assignments. And also, once you start to lay out due dates from all of your syllabi, you'll start to maybe see days where you have 2 tests that are due, or other days where you have 3 papers due from different classes. That's going to be really good for you to know beforehand so that you can really plan ahead and know that you probably can't wait to the last minute to prepare for all of those assignments, because if you do that, then you're going to have to squeeze 3 assignments in at the 11th hour, and that's really impossible if you want to do a good job. So it's really going to help you to prioritize and plan ahead so that you're focused on getting the job done well. After your first few days of school, make sure you lay out all of your syllabi from each class that you have and use a highlighter to highlight every due date that you have coming up, and then take your planner and transfer all the information regarding your due dates and deadlines onto your planner so that you can have a full picture of everything that you have coming down the pipeline. And this is going to help you to be more confident as well. So I highly recommend everyone to do this within their first few weeks of college. And going over your different syllabi will also ensure that you have all of the textbooks that are required. Ideally, you would have went online and got most of your textbooks much cheaper than what it's going to cost at the, university bookstores. But there are some books that you're not going to be able to get from online. So let's say it's a book that was actually written by your professor. You probably have to get that book in your university bookstores. So looking over your syllabi will ensure that you've indeed gotten all of the textbooks and materials necessary for all of your classes. Also, make sure that you review all of the syllabi very carefully so that you have a pretty good understanding of what you're going to get out of all of the classes that you're taking. Because when you're in college, you have 2 groups of classes, right? You have those primary core classes that you have to take. Those are those mandatory classes for your major. And you also have those electives. The electives are ones that you choose based on your interests, and you really want to pay attention to those specific syllabi, because if you read over the plans for the semester and you find out that that class is not really going to ensure that you get the information that you're interested in, you may have a time frame at your university where you are able to drop those elective classes and select another one in their place. One way you can really get a grasp or a feel on if you need to potentially drop that class or not is by getting familiar with that syllabus, asking questions to your professor so that you can have an understanding about if this is a good fit for you. And I think this is a great transition to my second tip. Over the first few weeks of college, you want to start to know your professors very well. You can do this in a multitude of ways. One way is by going online and seeing if anyone has made reviews about their experience under your professor. There's a website called ratemyprofessor.com that I used to use, but I'm sure these days there are other websites that you can go to get a better understanding of your professor's work style as well. So definitely review them online. A lot of times on university websites under each major, you'll be able to read more about your professor there. They'll have a profile and they'll talk about what they're interested in, what their research areas are, etc. So do what you can to really get a firm grasp on who exactly you're going to be learning under over the next 6 months or so. If you are on campus right now, I would also recommend that you stay after class and just have a chat with your professor. One thing that we sometimes forget is that professors are people too. Oftentimes, professors are a little bit nervous about the first day of class, just as you are. So if you are able to stay after and just chat with the professor, get to know them, and just, treat them like a human being, that can help them to be a little bit more comfortable with the first day of school, or just take their minds off of the fact that this is a stressful day potentially for them. So just stay after, ask them some questions, basic questions to get to know them better, let them get to know you better, and start to build that connection early on, because your professors really can be your greatest advocates in the future. They can help you to get connected to jobs that you're interested in, internships that you're interested in. Maybe you could even do some type of independent study class with them or research projects with them. Professors really are the key to a full experience at your university. So you want to build those relationships with them, and you'll be surprised about how few people actually work on cultivating relationships with professors. So if you're that one student who's taking initiative to do so, you're really gonna stand out. And who knows, maybe down the line, if you're a little bit late with the homework assignment, or if something comes up, or you're struggling with an assignment, just the mere fact that that professor knows your name and can put a name to a face could help you to get a little bit more leeway or a little bit more support during those times. So definitely work on cultivating your relationships with all of your professors, even those who may not have the best reputation on campus. I do remember that I had a few professors who a lot of the students would say they were mean or say some type of negative things. But if you actually get to know those professors, you may learn that they're much more approachable than you heard. So don't trust all rumors you may hear. All right, so you've went over your syllabi, you've taken some time to get to know all of your professors. And what is the third thing you should be working on during your first few weeks of college to be successful? And you guys, this is not in any particular order. All of these tips are equally important. But the third thing I would tell you is to start connecting with your classmates. Now, I know this is going to be a little bit more challenging for people this year because a lot of you may not be in an actual classroom and you may be on Zoom instead, but this is still really important to do. Try to get to know your classmates better. Plan some type of after class activities where you guys can chat and get to know each other on a first name basis, and see who you may have some commonalities with, some common interests as, and these classmates may actually end up being really good friends for you in the future. Or if anything, they can be a part of your network and your support system as you're going through college. Even to this day, some of my super close friends are people that I met in undergrad school and graduate school. You're sharing a very unique experience with one another. College can be a very stressful experience. Just having someone to go through that time period with is going to be very helpful for you and them, and it's also going to be shared memories between you guys. So, and the more classmates you get to know, I think will lead to you having more success in the job market as well. Because remember, you guys may be college students right now, but one day you're actually going to be professionals out there with leadership titles and working within certain sectors. So you just never know what type of opportunities you could get from someone who's just sitting right next to you in an introduction class. You guys aren't going to be in those positions forever. So definitely take advantage of the fact that you're sitting amongst a lot of very smart and brilliant individuals and start to build those relationships. You never know where they'll take you. All right, so the fourth tip that I am going to give is super important, especially if you're in grad school or if you're in undergrad, but you just have like a very busy schedule, or maybe you have a family, maybe you have kids who are at home and you have to homeschool them right now. So I think it's really important for you to try to get ahead of any reading assignments that you can. So if you have some free time on a certain evening, maybe don't just read the first few chapters that are due the next week, but read a little bit more than required, especially if you know over the next several weeks it's going to be harder for you to find time to read upcoming chapters. So if you can get ahead on reading or even on any of your assignments, that would really help you, especially if you're a very busy college student and you're juggling a lot of things. Finding different projects or readings within your different syllabi that you can get ahead of would really serve you, and you're going to thank me later. All right, so tip number 5, don't just think about how you can have the most success within the classroom. Also, within the first few weeks, explore how you can get involved in other extracurricular activities. Joining different extracurricular activities is going to expose you to even more professors and administrators within your university. Is going to help you meet other students who may be in different departments or studying different areas, who you could also cultivate relationships and friendships with. And yes, those who you can add as a part of your overall network. And later after college, when you are applying for jobs, or let's say you're in university and you're planning on applying for graduate school, those extracurricular activities that you were a part of is going to be a part of telling the story of who you are, and it's going to make you more qualified. When you're applying for these opportunities, you really want to look like a multifaceted individual who has experience and understanding of different areas. Being a part of extracurricular activities is going to help you to do that. Talk to your professors, talk to your academic advisor. A lot of colleges and universities have some type of student center. Visit the student center and see what other opportunities are out there for you that you can take advantage of. I highly recommend all of you guys to be involved in at least one extracurricular activity at your college. So my last and final tip for you guys is to just stay calm. Imposter syndrome is real, and as you're sitting in those seats, as you're sitting at home behind your monitor, you may be feeling nervous. You may feel like you don't belong there. You may feel as if, everyone else is smarter than you or better than you in some sort of way. And that's just imposter syndrome. All of us have it from time to time. A lot of people are going to be feeling the same way as you during those first few weeks of university. So just give yourself a break and remind yourself that these feelings are totally normal and they're natural. And most importantly, they're not true. Because if you got accepted into this college or, this program, it's because you're meant to be there and because they saw something in you that showed that you would be a great fit. So be excited about that, be proud of yourself and remember that you are exactly where you're supposed to be. I remember during my first few months of college, I was terrified. I didn't even think I would pass the first year. I thought I was gonna flunk out during the first semester. I thought everyone was smarter than me. I just felt like I didn't belong. But once I started getting assignments and I started getting grades back, I began to realize that it wasn't as difficult as I thought it was. So often when it comes to getting more confident with college and grad school, it's just gonna take a little bit of time for you to actually see some wins or to accomplish something so that you can show yourself that it's actually possible. So just be patient with yourself and give yourself grace during this time, especially those who are in their first year of undergrad or their first year in graduate school. I'm telling you guys, these times are the scariest because there's so much that you don't know. There's so many experiences that you're having that you've never had before. So it's only normal that you're a little bit nervous, but you're gonna get through this. You made it to this step because you are ready, and I'm super excited for you guys. So definitely stay calm throughout this process of getting through your first few weeks or your first month of college. You guys are gonna do great. I know this year is a little bit weird with the pandemic and, you know, the change in structure, but I think that you guys are gonna still do well. And if you have any questions about how you may be able to successfully get through your first few weeks of college, or if anyone out there has any type of advice or tips that they would like to share, I really want to use the comment section for exactly that. Please drop anything that you think would be helpful or any questions that you have down below. And I hope you guys can get some support from one another. Once again, I'm super excited for you, and I hope this video can help you. Thank you, and I'll talk to you guys in the next video. All right, see you soon. Bye-bye.